Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. This is stage 7 of the Giro 2021. It's another flat stage. So we know it's a Caleb Ewan stage for Lotto. He is the big, hot favorite amongst all of the sprinters in today's race. So let's go into the Lotto bus and let's see what they're talking about. Inside the bus, everyone has gotten dressed. They've put their numbers on, or they're still doing that last little preparation to get ready to go when the director will call all the riders to the front of the bus and they'll start discussing today's stage. With Lotto, this is very easy. You see the parkour. They'll have the paper set up. It's a 181 kilometer stage, just over 110 miles. They'll run along the coast, and there's a couple obstacles when they get near the finish. And that's what the manager of the team and the directors of the team are really going to focus on when they're doing the riders meeting there before the start. They'll have a couple sheets of paper. One is going to highlight the profile of the finishing part of the stage. Ideally, they're always going to bring out the last profile if they have a 12% pitch for a few hundred meters. That's just under 1.5K to go. So that is the most important obstacle that Lotto wants to talk about. You have to get past that 12% climb in order for Caleb to be able to win today's stage. So every director, whichever one for Lotto is going to give the instructions on today's stage, they're going to highlight that for sure. Now, if I'm there, I'm going to highlight from about 4 kilometers to go until that 1.5. It's important they have multiple roundabouts, 4 roundabouts going in from 4 kilometers to about 2 kilometers to go. Those are important to always be in the right spot. Lotto will do a fabulous job of controlling the breakaway of 3 riders. They won't give them any time. The break had no chance today. Simone Pelot was in there again. The highest time they gave him was just about 5 minutes. So the break had no chance, and they get brought back at 15K to go. So now everything is going to plan in the Lotto bus. Now, when we come into 4K to go, the director is back on the radio, and he's reminding everyone of what they talked about in the riders' meeting. 4 kilometers, roundabout. 500 meters later, another roundabout, followed by another roundabout, followed by another roundabout. 4 within the last, from 4K to 2.5K to go. That's a lot of obstacles to make sure your team's focused on. They don't have to have Caleb Ewan at the front through those roundabouts, but he has to be near the front. Now the crucial time. They come out of the last 4 kilometers. The manager in the bus is now reminding the riders again, there's a right turn coming up with a 12% climb. It's going to be a 35-second effort, and Lotto do an amazing job. They get Caleb Ewan into that right turn right at the front. He's going in, I believe, 3rd or 4th wheel there with 1 rider on the front, and I believe it's Jasper that's up there for Lotto, and he is doing an amazing job. Now, in the meeting, let's go back. What they'll say when they get on this steep 12% climb for about 35 seconds, Jasper, his job is to keep the pace smooth through the corner and continue it smooth all the way up the climb. He won't be sprinting maximum up the climb because he's trying to save the legs of Caleb Ewan. Caleb Ewan just wants to go into that corner as fast as he can, slowly lose a little bit of speed, and then steady all the way up the climb. And that's what will keep the sprinter's legs fresh for when they get to the top to make the left turn. Halfway up the climb, we'll see Bora Hansgrohe and Iolo rider attack, and they'll get a bit of a gap. Jasper's job again, stay steady. Do not do a big acceleration with your sprinter on his wheel. You want to stay smooth and steady. When they come into this in the race, Jasper does an amazing job. He keeps it incredibly smooth on the steep part of the climb. Caleb Ewan is in fantastic position, and they'll make the left turn there as the steep part of the climb ends. Now, it's a little bit of a drag, probably about a 2% drag to the line by the profiles reading, and a couple technical turns coming up. Jasper DeBoost up there for Lotto. He's doing an amazing job. He'll go into the right and the left turn and keep Caleb Ewan in perfect condition as he's catching the 2 breakaway riders that tried to sneak off on the steep part of the climb with just under 1.5K to go. He'll catch them, and he'll latch Caleb Ewan on to the Bora Hansgrohe-led chase there with perfect position, about 600 meters to go. This is fantastic, and he's in a great spot. Now, they'll come out of the turns the last turn there, and it's Fernando Gaviria. He's going to mix everything up and change the sprinting formula. He's going early, folks. Now, why is he going early? He is hoping for some kind of hesitation in the back. When they come out of that turn, it's Fernando Gaviria flying up the left side of the road. He's going to dodge straight in front of Caleb Ewan. Caleb Ewan is going to give a slight little look to the left. That look to the left is to make sure that it's clear behind Fernando Gaviria's wheel. A lot of time when attack is coming like that, from that far out, there could be a rider attached. So he doesn't want to accelerate onto Fernando Gaviria's wheel at that moment because they're still a little far out. But he knows he might have to follow it. So he's looking left to see if it's clear for him to go on the wheel. What Caleb Ewan's really hoping for at this 400-meter mark is that someone else will follow Fernando Gaviria's wheel. But it's not going to happen. Now, I love the move of Fernando Gaviria because that jump, he hasn't been able to win in a straight-up sprint. Now he's trying different tactics, and this is what you have to do. If you can't win with Tactics 101, you got to get crazy and you got to mix things up. Fernando Gaviria's move was beautiful. If there was a slight hesitation from Caleb Ewan back there or any other sprinter, he would have won today's stage, so I love the tactic. Now he takes off and he gets a gap. Caleb Ewan, after he looks left, realizes no one is on his wheel. Now he has to close the gap himself. This is a huge effort, and this is where we see the quality rider of Caleb Ewan. He starts standing up. He's on top of the bars standing up. He's not in a sprinter's position. He's on top on the brake levers there, and he's starting the sprint. But he's not 100%. He's going a good 90, 95% here, but not 100. He's going to get the acceleration going. Then he's going to sit back down, and the road has a little kink in it along the barriers there as it's not quite straight to the line from 400 meters to go. There's a little edge there on the right side, and I'm going to come back to that story after we finish who wins this stage. Now, Caleb Ewan is doing an amazing job back there with his quick little acceleration. He sits down to recover. I call it pulling the clutch in. So accelerate hard. He's going to pull the clutch in and ease up just a little bit so he can get a little bit of recover, but at the same time still gaining on Fernando Gaviria because now he's in the draft as he's sitting down. He's going to come up and he's going to start one more big acceleration just before reaching the back wheel of Fernando Gaviria's, and that's going to give him the slingshot to come up, go left, pass Fernando Gaviria like he's standing still, and win in spectacular style today's stage 7. It's a fabulous win and the first back-to-back win that we have here in the Giro. Congratulations, Caleb Ewan. It was masterful done. I mean, just beautiful all the way from 4K out. Certainly, your team did an amazing job getting into the 1.5 kilometer right-hand turn with a 12% pitch. Fantastic. If it was Jasper DeBoost that was leading you out there, Jasper, you were amazing. You pulled over 1 kilometer long and chased down the 2 riders who attacked on the climb before you finally swung off. Fernando Gaviria's attack, I loved it. I thought it was a great way to mix things up in today's race and gave him a great shot at possibly winning today's stage. But Caleb Ewan was untouchable. His form is fantastic when it comes to sprinting, and his Lotto team exceptional when it comes to tactics. Now, Caleb Ewan wins the stage in fantastic style. I want to go back to that little kink, though, at about 200 meters to go, because it's Peter Sagan trying to fit through on the right side. And he has a clean line, but with that little kink, there's a little bit of kink on the right side of the road there, and he's got to squeeze through. When he does, Peter Sagan's move was so tight that he actually rode over the barrier. You'll see his tires hit the barrier and his bike will catch a little bit of air. He'll come off that and land the bike and still pull it out without crashing. He does drop his chain, and that's what wrecks any chance of him getting a top 5 in today's stage and losing points when we're talking about for the sprint leader's jersey. That's important. We saw him earlier going for sprint points, and it's Peter Sagan, so you know he wants to win the jersey. This is the butterfly effect on today's stage. That little corner right there would have cost Peter Sagan some massive points in the sprint leader's jersey. Now, the big talk is Caleb Ewan is going to be going home at some point in time during this Giro because he has his 2 stage wins now, and he's looking forward, of course, to the Tour de France and the Tour of Spain so he could get stage wins in multiple Grand Tours the same year. It's going to be a spectacular effort from Caleb Ewan. But that little chicane and that little bump there that Peter Sagan hits is going to be massive and might have some devastating effects when we're talking about the amount of points he lost on today's stage. Had he gone top 5, had he gone a podium on today's stage, you're talking 20 more points possibly, plus taking points away from the riders that are in front of him. So it's a big loss for Peter Sagan on today's stage. And you got to ask yourself, was it really necessary trying to fit through that gap? Peter Sagan's trying to do multiple things, though. He's trying to win the sprint jersey, and he's trying to win stages too. So he has to take the risk if he wants to win the stage. If he played it safe, though, he could have just easily tapped the brakes, slotted back in, and gotten 5th or 6th on today's stage and still have massive points gained on the sprint leader's jersey. Hope you guys like the butterfly effect on today's stage. The young FDJ rider, Valter, ended up keeping the pink jersey along the way. He rode spectacular at the finish, always in good position, a little bit out of position for the 1.5 kilometer hill, but still good enough to be there right with the best GC riders at this year's Giro. I'm looking forward to seeing how the young FDJ rider does on the next 2 mountain stages. It should be spectacular. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hope you like the content of today's stage, and I'll see you guys real soon.